Have you ever wondered what winter in the US looked like 120 years ago? No thermostats, no buttons, only ice, smoke, and a battle for every degree of heat. This method was used by millions and it worked, but the price was grueling daily labor. The main heat source was the wood stove. Every American family started their morning not with coffee, but with an axe. You had to chop dozens of logs just to cook breakfast and warm up the living room. Cast iron stoves became the center of the universe. People slept, ate, and talked around them. But move 10 feet away and you're in a frozen wasteland. At the end of the video, you will see the most unusual ways of heating a home that seem like total trash today. When wood wasn't enough, black gold came to the rescue. The early 1900s was the era of coal. It burned longer and hotter than wood, but turned the home into a soot warehouse. Every morning, the master of the house descended into the basement, where tons of anthracite was stored. Heavy coal buckets had to be lugged upstairs several times a day. The air inside became heavy, and a layer of black dust always sat on the windowsills. Coal burners required constant attention. One wrong move and the fire goes out, or worse, carbon monoxide fills the room. It was dirty and dangerous work that left no room for laziness. The hardest test was the night. Heating the whole house was too expensive, so bedrooms usually remained icy. How did they keep from freezing during sleep? Copper bed warmers were the answer. A long handle allowed a coal-filled pan to be slid deep under the heavy feather duvet. Some used ceramic hot water bottles or even ordinary bricks heated in the oven and wrapped in old newspaper. To warm their feet, people used anything that held heat. You could sleep under 5 blankets, but your nostrils would still feel the frosty air of the room. The water in the pitcher by the bed often turned into a block of ice by morning. The cold didn't let Americans go even outside the home. In schools, children sat in coats and gloves, while the teacher often spent more time on the stove in the corner than on lessons. Workplaces in factories were heated minimally. People used small, portable kerosene heaters. These were metal cylinders that gave a bit of heat, but smelled terrible and produced soot. Even in churches, small iron coal boxes sat under the pews so parishioners wouldn't faint from the cold during the service. Social life in winter literally revolved around small islands of warmth. When technology fell short, people turned to nature. In rural areas of the US, farmers often brought young livestock, piglets or calves directly into the house during severe frosts. The animals emitted body heat that helped maintain the room temperature. Dogs were not just guards, but living heaters. The phrase 3-dog night meant a frost so severe you needed to hug 3 dogs to keep from freezing in bed. In stables, horses and cows stood close together, creating a natural heating system. And people sometimes went there just to take a break from the wind. At the turn of the century, wealthy Americans began to taste luxury central heating. It was a true revolution. Huge steam boilers in basements pushed hot water or steam through a pipe system to cast iron radiators. Radiators were often works of art with intricate carvings. This meant the end of soot and ash in living rooms. But the early systems were dangerous. Radiators hissed, spat boiling water, and pipes could explode from excessive pressure. However, the ability to walk around the house in a light shirt in the middle of January seemed like real magic to people in 1900, accessible only to the elite. Ordinary people who couldn't afford radiators showed amazing ingenuity. Insulation was almost non-existent, so cracks in the walls were stuffed with rags or covered with old newspapers. Heavy velvet curtains were hung over doors to stop drafts. People carried hot baked potatoes in their pockets. It warmed their hands on the way to work and then became lunch. Even heavy cast iron irons were used as foot warmers under the dinner table. Every object in the house had the potential to be a heat source. Being resourceful meant survival. And now, the promised trash. One of the strangest heating methods was called smoke heating. People intentionally kept the smoke from the stove inside, running it through long horizontal pipes under the floor or in the walls. It gave warmth, but a single crack in the pipe could lead to the suffocation of the entire family in their sleep. Another method was burning trash or even old shoes, which created an unbearable stench but gave instant heat. Some even constructed coal vests, pouches of hot sand or fine coal suspended under their coats. Today we just press a button, but back then every winter day was a battle. Value your warmth. Subscribe to learn more about real history.